The following is a presentation from PokerStars.com.
For me, it started small. From pool halls in Toronto to poke rooms in Las Vegas.
It's given me a life
I never could have dreamed.
The game has taken me around the world. I've seen it all.
From the Windy City to Sin City. This game can make you a legend.
This game can make you a champion.
It may have started small.
It may have started
But now, it's the big game.
This is the next generation.
It doesn't get any bigger than this.
This is the PokerStars.com Big Game.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Las Vegas for another exciting week of the big game. Alongside Joe Stapleton, I'm Chris Rose. Tonight, we have some of the poker world's brave young guns facing off with more than $500,000 already on the table.
Including the $100,000 that 25-year-old Justin Bonomo has bought in for. He's got $2.4 million in live tournament winnings.
One of the legends of poker, three-time bracelet winner Barry Greenstein starts off with $100,000.
Then it's on to 23-year-old sensation Jason Mercier out of Fort Lauderdale. He's won almost $5 million in his 2.5-year career.
22-year-old Joe Cada is the youngest player at this table, still riding high off of his 2009 main event title.
And in the next seat is 26-year-old Alaei, cash game specialist out of Los Angeles.
And this week's loose cannon has been staked $100,000. Her name is Nadya Magnus from Palatine, Illinois. She is with Amanda Leatherman.
Nadya, you're the single mother of a 16-year-old son at home. This has to be a chance of a lifetime for you. Are you super excited?
Yeah, I really do feel on top of the world, and it feels like this is the chance of a lifetime for a better life for me and my son.
What's going through your mind right now?
Just butterflies.
Yeah, and you're ready to play with the big boys today.
Absolutely. I'm ready to mess with the big boys.
I'm always rooting for a woman. Go get them, all right?
All right, thank you.
Nadya has been staked $100,000. She will keep all profits above the initial $100,000. And at the end of the season, the loose cannon who wins the most money earns a North American Poker Tour passport worth $50,000.
Boys ready?
Are you ready?
I was born ready.
That would be born ready back in the USSR. Nadya grew up in the former Soviet Union. I also heard she has a photo of Yakov Smirnoff in her wallet.
Who doesn't? Nice starting hand for Nadya, king, queen, offsuit.
Raise.
Right off the bat.
It's not wasting time.
The loose cannons only have 150 hands. There's no time like the present.
Nadya raised to 1,300. Action folds over to Barry Greenstein. Re-raised to 4,500 with suited connectors.
He's wasting no time attacking the loose cannon.
It goes fold over to Danny. Pocket fives. He gets rid of it. And now action back on the original raiser.
Out of respect to you, first hand. Other than that,
Just respect.
one time.
Out of respect, yeah.
One time.
Barry is obviously well aware of our loose cannon format. He is wasting no time bullying Nadya.
Well, here are the rules of the big game. Each table lasts exactly 150 hands. The action pre-flop is pot limit, then becomes no limit after the flop. Blinds are 2 and 400 with a $100 ante. The player on the button will ante for the whole table. Each player begins with at least $100K but can reload for up to $500,000.
Nadya daydreams of becoming a professional poker player. She says she studies the game 24/7, reading every book she can get her hands on. Might I suggest Ace on the River by Barry Greenstein?
Justin Bonomo has yet to write a book. But if he did, Chapter 7 would be How I Raised Ace-4 Suited.
If he did, I would say pre-order it now. He's one of the best thinkers in the game.
You didn't really raise him.
Action folds to Nadya.
Not a coincidence Barry didn't re-raise Justin.
Nadya folds.
Don't worry, Barry will be re-raising me plenty today, I promise
It was
you.
a nice welcome, Barry. Thank you very much.
Well, I had one of those hands that I like to re-raise with. I was just trying to build a pot.
Excuses. Just started and you're already picking on me.
No. I don't pick on girls.
At the table, there are no boys and girls. It's just poker players.
Very good. Barry folds. Mercier's out of the way. Cada folds.
Can you raise so I can fold?
Okay.
Looks like Danny's going to oblige.
Oh, thank you so much.
Danny does raise to 1,500. And Nadya folds. But Justin Bonomo calls.
He's got Danny dominated.
Queen deuce deuce. Check by Bonomo.
Just like that, Danny hits his queen. Way out in front.
Fires 2,100 and wins the pot.
First blood. So where are you from in Russia?
400 miles east of Moscow.
So in Asia, right?
No.
Oh, east.
East of Moscow, yeah.
But still in Europe?
Oh, yeah, it's Central Russia. Absolutely.
Nadya has actually lived in America for a decade. She still has plenty of family overseas. Ace Jack for Jason Mercier. Raises to 1,400. Joe Cada folds. Ace King for Danny.
Kind of unlucky for Jason, for Danny to wake up with Ace King.
Danny just calls. The loose cannon folds. So does Bonomo. So too does Barry.
In cash games, some players like to re-raise with Ace King. Others like to see a flop. And the best mix it up.
4, 9, 10, a pair of clubs.
Danny's still ahead, but Jason did have the pre-flop lead. He's supposed to continue. You find that right in Barry's book.
Mercier does lead out to 1,900. And that gets Danny to fold. Jason wins a pot of almost $6,000.
Keep an eye on Jason's stack. If he keeps winning pots, occasionally he will build a little fortress out of his chips. He's the Frank Lloyd Wright of chip stacks.
Well, let's see how expensive his house gets tonight. Action folds over to Nadya. She's out. So too's Bonomo. Barry Greenstein, king deuce offsuit. Fires 1,400 on a raise.
King high on the button, good enough for a raise from this aggressive player.
Jason Mercier, 8-5 suited, small blind. Re-raise to 4,700, gets Cada to fold. Barry 2.
Good read from Mercier.
Hey, Barry got caught.
Oh, now it's all about me and you, huh? That's your money.
Oh, thanks. Gee.
Actually, it's not.
No, I took those exact chips I got off her.
Jason, use them wisely, because I want them.
Nadya wants some of her chips back as the loose cannon's talking a big game in the early going. The big game is just heating up. More from Las Vegas coming your way after this. Welcome back to Las Vegas, home of the big game online qualifier. Nadya Magnus has been staked $100,000 and is sitting with some of the best players in the world.
Nadya says her nightmare scenario would be to be busted and embarrassed on national TV.
No, and Barry said he was going to rebuy me if you guys bust me.
I think the opposite would be true for these guys as well.
Bonomo raises.
Now that I know you're from Europe, that kind of changes things.
As Barry and Nadya continue their small talk, action folds around to Danny Alaei. The cash game specialist, ace-9 suited, calls.
He's in at a discount to take a peek.
And a nice peek. 8 ace-ace. Trip aces for Danny, who checks.
He's checking to the pre-flop raiser, hoping he'll continue.
Bonomo does, betting 2,500.
Daniel's pausing for a second. Make no mistake, he's not going anywhere. He's actually a very deliberate player. All he's thinking about is how to extract as much value as he can out of his hand.
And makes the smooth call.
Justin may know something's up already.
The turn, queen of spades. Danny checks again.
Once again, he checks to the original raiser.
Bonomo, check right back at you. Jack on the river.
Now, we know Justin's playing the board and can't call a bet, but Danny doesn't know that. He's trying to figure out a value bet Justin might call.
Danny fires 6,000, getting Bonomo to fold. And Danny rakes in a nice little pot.
I want to join the party. Can I have some hands, please?
Well, playing in this poker party is a dream come true for Nadya Magnus, a woman who feels both pride and pain in her heart at the table.
This necklace I've inherited from my mom, who passed away about 1.5 years ago, unexpectedly, out of nowhere, and I missed it. I missed it by a week. I was scheduled to go home and visit my family, and I was late, about a week late. I can't do this. She was this artistic, creative person, and she always loved me doing all these shows, and she would definitely love to see this big game, this big, huge TV production, and see her daughter compete like against all these, guys, and just be strong and, do really well. She would really enjoy it. I hope I can really do well, and she could maybe see me from above and, be happy for me.
Nadya says if she wins some money, she's going to visit her father back in the former Soviet Union.
You mainly play online, though, right?
Huh? Yeah.
What do you play?
Tournaments.
Don't give them any information.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right.
Especially this guy.
Yeah, I know.
Justin.
Everything you say will be used against you. That's right.
Hand 11 out of 150.
Take the end.
Joe Cada, a little frustrated in the early going. Danny looking at ace-4 suited. Raised to 1,600.
Six-handed, a lot of players will raise any ace.
King-5 suited for our loose cannon, who folds. So does Bonomo. Jack-10 suited for Barry, who makes the call.
Throwing in my 1,000?
Yeah, sure.
Mercier folds.
Good luck getting an extra 1,000 out of Greenstein.
Queen-5-8, 2 spades on the flop. Barry checks.
Barry's flopped a gut shot and a backdoor diamond draw. Danny still got the best hand with ace high.
And fires 2,200.
Barry's trying to decide if he's got the right odds to draw.
Apparently he does.
He's 50-50 to win the hand.
The turn, king of diamonds.
Barry's odds have improved. He's halfway to his flush, and now he's open-ended as well.
Barry is checked over to Danny.
Jack or 10 would work for him also.
Danny fires 6,400.
Danny's got the best hand, but pairing his ace would be very bad. Make a Broadway straight for Barry. Too many draws for Barry to lay this down.
And so Barry makes the call.
Probably not the move Danny wanted to see. I doubt he's loving his ace high right now.
The river, 6 of spades.
And that's a big fat brick.
Barry checks.
Let's see if Danny wants to bluff at it, though we know he has the best hand.
He does not. Checks it down. But Danny sees a winning hand and rakes in a pot of more than 21,000.
It's a nice little surprise to win a pot with ace high.
Danny Alaei takes it down with quiet class.
And that's his style. He's a guy who believes etiquette classes should be required for some of these brash new pros.
More from these well-behaved players when we return to the big game in Las Vegas right after this. Welcome back to the big game, and through a dozen hands, we have 2 players in Profitville. The rest are in negative numbers. Remember, if the loose cannon, Nadya Magnus, is in the profit list after 150 hands, she'll face a tough choice. Keep those winnings and go home, or risk the cash and come back for more action. Alongside Joe Stapleton, I'm Chris Rose, and Joe, our loose cannon, Nadya, told us she doesn't only want to win, she's got a certain dollar figure in mind.
$50,400 to be exact. That would put her in front of previous loose cannon Ernest Wiggins, who walked away with $50,300. He is the current leader for the North American Poker Tour Passport. To pass him, Nadya is going to have to pick her spots carefully because as a loose cannon, she has a target on her back.
Now, Joe, Nadya told us that she wants to become a professional poker player, so winning that passport would be a dream come true. And the action on hand 13 will actually begin with our loose cannon, Nadya. Ace-deuce suited. Folds.
Not a bad fold in early position.
Action around now to Barry Greenstein, ace-jack.
This is a pretty easy raise in late position.
He does to 1,500. Jason Mercier, pocket pair on the button. Calls. Joe Cada, 9-8 suited.
He's thinking about doing something here.
What's the pot?
Pot.
Are you raising pot or are you asking what it is?
I'm asking what's pot.
It's always a scary question. What's the most I can raise?
Cada makes it 6,400 to go.
7,000.
Raise to 6,400 total.
Danny folds. As does Barry.
Jason's not getting the right odds to try to flop a set, but that's only if he puts Cada on an overpair. If Jason puts Cada on just overcards, which is what Cada does have, then Jason's still a slight favorite.
Joe, he must be listening to you. Mercier makes the call.
Despite the yawn from Cada, are we keeping you up, buddy?
6 Jack 4, 2 clubs, a set of sixes for Mercier.
Jason's set has got Cada drawing ostensibly dead. Cada's going to need more runners than the New York Marathon if he wants to catch up on this hand. Cada made his pre-flop raise out of position as well, so if he's going to continue to represent a big hand, he's probably going to bet here.
Cada does on a bluff, 9,300.
Jason's pretty confident he has the best hand. The only question is, will he try to get his value now or give Cada a little more rope to hang himself?
Hand over the rope, please. A smooth call.
Wonder if Cada can feel it tightening around his neck.
The turn, 9 of hearts.
This is a terrible card for Joe Cada. If you put Jason on a hand like ace-king, he may no longer even think he's bluffing. If he's intent on selling his story, he's going to be donating even more dead money to this pot.
As you can see, Joe Cada is drawing dead. Action is on Joe. He's got second pair. Fired after the flop.
Jason's trying very hard not to give off any tells.
This time, Cada bets 19,000.
Once again, Jason's got the same decision to make here. He's trying to figure out if there's a way he can get Cada to commit more chips on the river or if he wants to try to raise him here. Just calling has worked out pretty well so far. This bet from Joe Cada is basically a semi-bluff. He does have a pair, but he's trying to represent something bigger.
Second consecutive street, Mercier just makes the smooth call.
With 2 smooth calls in a row, Cada may be realizing that the jig is up.
The river, 3 of clubs.
That card does complete some flush and straight draws. Cada didn't like his hand before. He probably hates it now.
He checks on over to Mercier.
Mercier's got one last shot to try to extract some value from his set of sixes.
On.
Jason's not holding anything back, moving all in.
It's a pretty ambitious value bet. All Cada's got is a pair. Jason's hoping Cada has an overpair and can't fold.
But Joe does call it quits. And Jason Mercier wins a nice-sized pot with his set. Alongside Joe Stapleton, I am Chris Rose, back with you for the big game, where this week's loose cannon is single mother Nadya Magnus. She currently lives in Palatine, Illinois. She was originally born in the former Soviet Union, where once upon a time she studied law. Nadya holding her own, down just 4,300. Of course, Joe, she was staked 100 grand.
Nadya hasn't gotten too involved so far. She's going to have to mix it up with these guys if she wants to turn a profit.
Barry not mixing it up this hand. Jason Mercier with the Doyle Brunson also folds. King 7 suited for Joe Cada. Raised to 1,300.
Joe just lost a big pot to Jason. This could be a steam raise.
Is it 13?
Action folds on over to Justin Bonomo. Makes the call with ace-queen. The flop, queen, queen, deuce, 2 hearts. Interesting flop.
Things could get dicey for Cada. He's got a flush draw. Bonomo, 3 of a kind.
Bonomo checks. Cada fires 2,000.
Bonomo could slow play this, but with 2 hearts out there, he may try to make Joe pay to draw another card.
Bonomo check raises to 6,500.
It's a tough call for Joe Cada in this spot. The board is paired already.
But he does make it. The turn, 9 of spades.
That spade isn't a scary card for Bonomo. It doesn't complete any draws, and he definitely doesn't want to give away a free card at this point.
Justin leads out this time, betting 13,000.
Cada again looking pretty reluctant to give up his hand. That was a nearly pot-sized bet from Justin. Cada's definitely not getting the right odds to call, especially because he's not drawing to the nuts and he could be drawing dead already.
There's the fold. Bonomo picks up a nice-sized pot.
I think Joe may be getting a little frustrated.
Seems to happen in this game an awful lot, doesn't it?
Oh, in poker? From time to time.
Jason Mercier folds. Cada out of there as well. Danny ace-7 offsuit.
Danny's in relatively late position. He's in the cutoff.
Alaei makes it 1,500. Nadya, suited connectors.
We said she was going to have to get involved. Looks like she's getting started here.
She does on the button, making the call. Ace-queen again for Bonomo. Calls.
Unlucky for Danny. Bonomo's woken up with a dominating ace.
3 to the flop. King 10-8, a pair of spades.
Everyone's missed. Justin's got the best hand with the biggest ace.
He checks over to Danny, who checks as well.
Nadya's in position to bluff at this if she wants to.
She does not. 4 clubs on the turn, giving Nadya a pair.
That 4 did hit Nadya, but the way the pre-flop action went, Justin's still likely to think his ace-queen is good.
And he fires 4,000. Danny folds.
Nadya wanted to play 3-4. Now she's got a pair. We know she could win this hand if she can pull the trigger. It's a pretty risky proposition on this type of board.
And so she just calls.
She thinks her 4s might be good, and she's right.
The river. Ace of clubs, a bad card for Nadya.
Pretty unlucky that Justin hit one of his outs on the river. Nadya was the favorite going into that last card.
He bets 10,000.
Nadya's trying to get a read on Justin. You're not going to get it from looking at him. You have to look at the way he played the hand.
I don't know. I just have a feeling you have nothing.
You have to think about what kind of nothing could Justin have called a raise pre-flop with that doesn't beat a pair of 4s. If anything, Justin's the kind of player who can give off body language to make you think he has nothing.
She calls.
I river the ace.
He doesn't look too proud of spiking that ace on the river. He might be showing that for Nadya's benefit, but he's still stacking the chips.
Well, Nadya had a good read on Justin until the river. Back-to-back pots has now put Bonomo in second place. The loose cannon, Nadya Magnus, has lost about 20K from the original 100 grand she was staked. Also on the wrong side of even is Barry Greenstein, who is with Amanda.
All right, Barry, what's your impressions of the loose cannon so far?
Well, she's a tight cannon so far. And it was pretty unfortunate that last hand. I think she's a good player, and I don't know how much she knows about Justin, but her vibe was right. Justin probably had nothing, except on the river, he made a very value-looking bet. And it just smelled to me exactly like what it was. He drew out on her on the river. So it's pretty unfortunate for her. She was going to pick him off if any card came and he happened to hit the one that drew out on her.
Good luck today, okay?
Tight cannon is right. That last hand Barry was talking about was hand 16 and the first flop Nadya has seen. I know I'm supposed to be the analyst, so please forgive the simplicity of this. But if Nadya wants to beat these guys, she's going to have to see some flops.
Folks, that's why Joe is the best in the business right there. This Joe folds. Danny, ace-4 suited. Raises to 1,600. Nadya, king-queen offsuit.
Maybe she'll start now.
She calls.
2 flops in a row for Nadya.
Action folds around to Jason Mercier. He's out. So it'll be Danny and Nadya looking at this flop. Trey, queen, jack, 2 clubs.
Nadia's flopped the best hand with top pair. Danny's out of position, and he's only got ace high, but he did have the lead going into the flop.
Danny fires 2,300.
Nadia contemplating a call with top pair.
Actually, she raises to 6,200.
Nice move, Nadia.
What does that mean?
Some poker players employ the stare down. Nadia prefers the congenial smile.
Gets Danny to fold.
Ta-da! First spot.
She may want to save powerhouse intimidation tactics like that smile for later in the game.
First she was giving me the stare down, and then she broke into a smile. Can't really figure that one out.
Ah, the dreaded stare down smile. Not what Danny's used to seeing in high stakes games. Nadia gets off the schneid. More when we come back.
This is the PokerStars.com Big Game.
This is hand 20 out of the 150 we will play this week at the big game.
Pretty much. How else do you build a pot?
Action begins with Justin Bonomo, queen 5. Folds. Ace-jack for Barry Greenstein, raises to 1,500. Pocket kings for Jason Mercier.
Big pocket pair, we're likely to see a re-raise. If he just calls, he risks letting in the 2 blinds.
There's the re-raise to 4,900. Cada folds, so does Danny, so does our loose cannon.
Ace-jack isn't a great hand to call re-raise with.
Barry noticed that.
Look at that, looks like Jason started construction on his chip castle. More building materials.
And multicolored as well. That's what I like. I would never decorate like that at home, but here it's okay.
It's already ugly green carpet.
Hand 21 starts with Barry folding and pocket kings again for Mercier.
He's got 2 kings who can live in his little castle now.
He raises to 1,400. Cada folds. Danny's out on the button. Our loose cannon doesn't like her hand. And Bonomo folds.
Should I use my one time here?
King something. King.
It's kings.
Kings. That's it.
Well, the odds of getting kings on consecutive hands is almost 50,000 to 1.
Actually, it's 48,400, but apparently it's no big deal for Jason Mercier.
Now, if he gets to the 3rd straight hand, I'm walking out of here.
I don't think our calculator goes that high.
Joe Cada folds. Danny Alaei also out of the way. The loose cannon, ace-6.
Nadia's in late position with an ace.
Raises to 1,500. Action folds around to Jason, who's got ace-jack. He calls.
If Jason were playing a player he knew better or open light, he might re-raise with ace-jack.
The flop, ace-6-8, 2-pair for Nadia, top pair for Jason. Mercier checks.
Nadia's got Jason in a nasty spot right now. If she plays it right, she should be able to win herself a big pot. The best way to do that would be to take a cue from Jason and start building. But in this case, a pot.
Not a nice little castle.
I don't know if Nadia's hesitation is going to help her or hurt her here, but Jason has definitely noticed it.
She fires 2,600.
Trying to interpret her hesitation.
Jason makes the call.
So far, that pump fake has worked out.
The turn is the 4 of clubs. Jason checks.
That 4 changes nothing. I'm sure Nadya still thinks she's good. Let's see if she continues to try to build this pot.
This time she fires 6,100.
Amateurs usually play pretty straightforward. Jason must know she's got something at this point.
Jason calls.
Jason's strong ace is going to be good here a lot of the time.
It's not right now. Nadya fills up on the river. Jason checks.
Nadya knows she's got this hand locked up. Right now she's got to figure out what the right size value bet is to get maximum action from Jason.
Nadya fires 13,200.
How much?
That's a pretty decent value bet from Nadya, since I can't imagine Jason was really trying to trap her with ace-jack in this spot, and the board never really changed from the flop. Jason's probably going to have to pay her off. Oh, man. Looks like all kinds of alarms are going off in Jason's head. His hand is basically a bluff catcher at this point. He's having a seriously hard time letting go of this one.
Jason calls.
Vote.
God, I'm so terrible.
My analysis says I think he regrets the way he played the hand.
Nice hand.
Thank you.
Nadya wins a pot of more than 47 grand.
Get us another loose cannon.
Nadya stays.
Haven't you seen those James Bond movies with the beautiful Russian spies?
Hey, just call me Nadya KGB. That'll do it.
It's not a view to a kill, but a killing on that hand. And for the first time, Nadya is working with a profit. See if she can hang on to it when we come back. Welcome back to the big game where the loose cannon stack just ballooned from 80,000 to over 107 grand, putting her in that all-important profits column.
It's still 125 hands to go, so she can't fold her way to the money. She's going to have to continue to play with these guys.
Action on Danny, who folds. Nadya gets rid of her hand.
Going for my first pot here, Jason.
Did you just expect Jason to give you a wall?
Cada tried to appeal to the king in his castle. No dice.
Mercier limps in. Cada, ace, queen.
Cada's woken up with a real hand here. Maybe the king's about to be dethroned.
Races to 1,600.
He thinks I'm going to fold, too. That's the funny thing.
Mercier did not, making the call.
I'm checking, see.
Check in the dark. 5, jack, 9. So action now on Cada.
Jason's got the best hand with a pair of 9s.
Cada fires 2,600.
Continuation bet from Cada.
Mercier calls with second pair. King of spades on the turn. Jason checks.
Joe's hand has not improved.
That's 5,500.
Cada's continuing to rep a big one. Let's see if he can chase out the best hand.
He cannot. Jason does make the call. Board pairs on the river.
Still no help for Cada.
Jason checks.
Nine.
Jason's 9s are still good.
The frustration continues for Joe Cada.
Sure he doesn't want to be spreading his World Series winnings around the rest of the community.
He does here as Jason Mercier picks up a pot of 20 grand. And he continues to build that castle, Joe.
Hey, look at that, a mud room.
Please take your shoes off in the back. It's hand 25 out of the 150 we'll play this week. And action begins on the loose cannon. Nadya Magnus.
Oh, Nadia's smiling again. Batting down the hatches.
10-9 suited.
Look at Nadya looking to mix it up here.
She does, raising to 1,400. Barry calls with a pocket pair. Jason folds. Joe Cada out. Danny looking at the smallest pocket pair you can find.
Danny's getting 5-1 odds on his money, though.
Party!
More than enough to see a flop.
Eight, 9, 7, a pair of diamonds.
Nadia's flop top pair and a straight draw. This is a perfect opportunity to try to build a pot.
Danny has checked on over to Nadya. She fires 3,500. Barry folds. And so does Danny.
No resistance for Nadya KGB. They must be afraid of her license to kill pot.
Well, it's the third pot that Nadya Magnus has taken down in the last 5 hands.
Even though it's early and we've only played 25 hands, an interesting trend is developing on Nadya. If you look at that top line, hands 1 through 15, she saw 0 flops. But in the last 10 hands, she's voluntarily put money into the pot 20% of the time, and that's resulted in over 11K in winnings. What this tells me is she started off feeling a little nervous, but she's settling in nicely.
And you can understand that, Joe. I mean, this is a person who has looked up to some of the players at the table over the years. Now she's just one of the boys, almost.
I'm nervous just watching them play for these stakes.
Bonomo raises under the gun to 1,400. Action folds over to Jason Mercier with King 10. Gets rid of that hand. Jack 10 suited for Joe Cada.
It's a hand that plays very well in position.
Makes the call.
Especially when you're deep stacked.
Unless the guy to your left has pocket queens like Danny does.
Both these hands are in big trouble to Danny's pocket queens.
He raises to 6,600. Loose cannon folds. Now action back on Justin, the original raiser.
It's tough to lay down ace-queen in this spot. Not a lot of hands you're behind to.
Justin calls.
Now with Jack 10 suited in position, Joe may be thinking he's getting the right odds.
He makes the call as well. 5 ace king, 2 hearts on the flop.
Horrible flop for 2 queens. The only 2 cards you don't want to see. They're both there.
Danny checks over to Justin, who now has the best hand.
Bonomo's out flop Danny. This is the type of flop you want to see with ace-queen.
Bets 13,000. That gets Cada to frustratingly fold. Danny calls.
Even with 2 overs, Danny's not ready to let this one go yet.
Jack on the turn.
Both players now have a pair and a gut shot. Bonomo still has top pair.
Check by Danny.
Justin's deciding whether or not he can get value from this hand.
He checks as well. 6 of diamonds on the river.
Danny can't be in love with his queens anymore.
Alaei checks. And Justin checks.
2 queens.
You said 2 queens?
And Bonomo wins a pot of almost 47 grand.
Nice.
Okay, next time you get ace queen, let me know so I can fold. Because the flop's gonna come queen, queen, ace or something.
Just always fold when I put money in the pot, then you don't have to worry about it.
Okay.
It's easy like that.
Justin's doing pretty well over there.
Sorry, I'm a big loser. It's cool.
After that hand, Justin's up almost 50K.
King 9 offsuit for Jason Mercier. Folds. Queens for Cada.
Look at that. Picks up 2 queens. Let's hope he fares better than Danny did.
Raised to 1,500. Danny folds. Nadya on the button with pocket jacks.
This could be trouble.
Going for my first pot.
I know, so I have to try extra hard to defend this one.
You want a pot yet?
No. Of course. Get re-raised. What else is new?
Nadya does re-raise to 4,800.
Nadya's in a really bad spot right now. She's a 4-1 dog to Cada's queens.
Action folds back on over to Joe Cada.
This is what they call a good old-fashioned cold decking.
And Joe calls.
Cada just calls, wants to take a look at the flop. This is a move Nadya could make with aces, kings, ace-king.
8 deuce tray. Joe checks.
Very bad flop for Nadya. Really nothing out there to help her get away from this.
She bets 8,100.
She has to think she has the best hand.
Joe quickly calls.
Cada's continuing to call. You can tell he's trying to feel out the amateur. She'd probably play aces or kings the same way.
7 of spades on the turn. Check by Joe.
Do it. I forgot again. I feel like they're tournament chips for some reason. I like almost never forget to tip in cash games, but for some reason I just can't remember it today.
I haven't had the opportunity yet. I'll take you if I win this pot, though. Just gotta hope she stops betting.
Either Bonomo just remembered about the tipping or someone reminded him the cameras are on.
Nadya bets 15-6.
Still nothing scary out there for either player through no real fault of her own. Nadya's painted herself into a corner.
Joe quickly calls again. Board pairs on the river. Joe checks.
With Cada calling down on every single street, Nadya probably doesn't love her hand anymore. Maybe she can stop the bleeding and check behind.
I have jacks.
She does check. And she sees the bad news as Joe Cada wins his first pot.
It's either bluffing jacks or ace-king, so... I mean, not ace-king, aces or kings, so...
That one hurt Nadya's heart, not to mention her stack.
That smile we're seeing is a lot different than the one we saw a few hands ago. I wouldn't want to be on the business end of one of those.
Well, let's take a look at where we stand after 28 hands. Justin and Jason are on the plus side. Nadya, at one point, she was up over 11,000, but now is down over 18K, but she still has over 120 hands to turn a profit.
Nadya KGB lives to fight another day.
All right, guys, that's it. That's the end of tonight's show. Nadya, you took a little bit of a hit right there at the end. How are you feeling?
Well, tough game, you know. I guess I'm the only fish swimming in these waters.
All right, guys, join us tomorrow night to see if the loose cannon can take another step towards her dream. I'm Amanda Leatherman saying goodbye for now. And remember, if you've got the cash and the guts, there's always a seat open at the big game. See you next time.
For Joe Stapleton, I'm Chris Rose. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Are you guys scared of her yet?
Well, I don't know if you heard, Nadya already accused our main event champion of slow rolling her.
Joe slow rolled me.
He's already starting that.
Were you doing that?
Yeah, I slow rolled her.
It's not cool at all.
It was my first pot. What do you expect?
The preceding was a presentation from PokerStars.com.